I have now received notice from the Minister for Infrastructure that he wishes to make a statement. Before I call the Minister, I again remind members that they need to be in the chamber to hear the whole of the Minister's statement if they wish to be called to ask a question, and also that they must be concise in asking their question. Minister.
And I understand that some members may not have received the statement in the due time. I apologise to the Speaker and to the House for that error. Mr Speaker, in compliance with Section 52 of the Northern Ireland Act 1998, I wish to make the following statement regarding the provision of additional funding to address potholes. Having previously served as Minister for Infrastructure, I am very aware of the long-term underfunding from which our road network has suffered due to over a decade of Tory cuts and austerity. As a result, my department has been operating in a very difficult financial position, compounded by recent 2 years' collapse of the Assembly, and this has had a significant impact on the ability to deliver essential maintenance functions. Whilst my officials and maintenance crews have worked very hard to maintain the road network, they have nonetheless been forced to concentrate only on the highest priority repairs. To be clear, this is not a position that any of us want to be in and does not represent good maintenance practice. As a result, we have all seen continued deterioration in the infrastructure, with large numbers of potholes and other defects developing across the road network, especially after periods of particularly cold or wet weather. However, despite this challenging position to be in, on average approximately 7,000 road service defects are fixed each month. As a driver and a constituency MLA, I am well aware of the frustrations and at times inconveniences this has caused people and communities who rely on the road network to do business, to go to work, to school and connect to one another. I cannot understate the value of our road network to our people, our communities and our economic well-being. Therefore, today I am taking action to begin to address this issue. Today I am announcing the immediate investment of an additional £1 million in road maintenance to address the growing backlog of pothole repairs. This much-needed funding will be used between now and the end of the financial year to target areas of highest priority, with small-scale resurfacing schemes designed to repair areas that have suffered the most and where localised repairs are less effective. However, this is only the beginning of much-needed investment in our road infrastructure, and myself and my executive colleagues will continue to work together to press the British Government for more funding to address these issues. There has been a growing backlog of work needed to bring our roads to an acceptable standard, and there is a pressing need to address this. This is something I will be closely focusing on in coming months. This announcement is a positive one. It reflects on my commitment to do all that I can to repair our roads. It also reinforces the importance of having locally elected ministers in place to make decisions such as this. In closing, Mr Speaker, I reiterate my commitment to addressing the historical underinvestment of the road network caused by over a decade of Tory cuts and austerity, and this £1 million of funding demonstrates this. This is the first step in what I would see as a priority to improve the daily lives of people, communities and businesses, providing the services to our citizens they expect and deserve. Thank you.
Call Mr Mark Durkin.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Agus cógáirteas leis an éire ar a fáisniú agus admhór ar fásta. I welcome this statement and any additional investment in our crumbling network. A constituent just remarked to me last week that we used to drive on the left of the road, now we drive on what's left of the road. Can the Minister estimate how many holes will be filled by this £1 million? And would he agree with me that the cumulative negative impact of not having an executive has been particularly harsh on our roads, given the perennial reliance of his department on monitoring rounds to boost the road maintenance budget?
Thank you, there obviously has been an impact on road maintenance programmes, because as the member will be aware from his previous time in DRD, I think it was DRD then? DOE then? No, it's changed that many times. That this department does rely on monitoring rounds to uplift its maintenance budget. I would hope we're now in that position to start that programme of work, and I can assure everyone in the House that I will be looking towards those monitoring rounds to have further investment in our road maintenance programme. In regards how many schemes, I emphasise to members this isn't a case of us coming along with a wheelbarrow of tarmac or asphalt and tipping it into a hole. These will be resurfacing schemes in many areas, so I estimate between 40 and 50 schemes will be carried out with this. And it is only a small start, but it is a start. And as I said, I will continue to look for further finance to carry out this work.
Deborah Erskine.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I wish to congratulate the Minister who's been put in the place of infrastructure, and look forward to working with him in the committee. As a newly appointed chairperson, the committee has not yet formally conducted its first meeting. However, I am sure this will be one of our priorities going forward, and there will be a lot of discussion around that. I'm also no doubt that members across this House, their constituencies will be full of issues to do with potholes. So what is the extent of the growing backlog that the Minister refers to, and how much resource does the Department consider it needs moving forward to achieve and deliver good maintenance practices to the road network?
Minister.
The backlog is growing every day. Every time there is a heavy downfall of rain or a heavy frost, then the backlog grows in relation to road maintenance and potholes. We are currently operating on a limited budget. We have around £21 million in this financial year to fix potholes and surfaces, etc. Ideally, we would like to be operating 3 times that, but we don't have it. And as I listened to the previous Minister and the competing priorities that we have around our executive table, and I have to work as a collective around our executive table. But I can assure the member that I will do everything within my power to secure in-year monitoring and also stabilise the budget of the Department of Infrastructure so we can plan long-term in terms of our road maintenance. I just want to end by congratulating the member on becoming chair of the committee, and look forward to working with our colleagues.
Cathal Boylan.
And Cordagus Coram Fáilte Rivrachis on Ira, and could I welcome the Minister's statement, and could I wish you well in your new role, Mr. Speaker, and also the Minister welcome back to the Department. Minister, just in relation to it, no doubt there's a lot of elected reps who will be inundated with phone calls after this message today, but just to outline it, I mean, can you give us a clear time frame for how soon you will be out on the ground fixing these potholes and fixing these pieces of road, because I'm sure, no doubt, there will be a lot of questions asked in relation to this announcement today. Gormil Margaret.
Well, when I was speaking to my officials when I came into the department, I was keen to see if we could secure additional finance to address the potholes and surfaces on our roads. We're up against a tight timescale. It's about 6 weeks to the end of the financial year. This money has to be spent in that time frame, so we have to be able to mobilise the workforce to do that and be assured that we can spend the money. At this stage, my officials are telling me we can handle around £1 million worth. I am continuing to engage with my officials. If there's other finances come available, can we mobilise further workforce to carry out further schemes in different areas? But I have no doubt your phone will be busy today.
Call Peter McReynolds.
I thank the Minister for his statement, and can I take this opportunity to congratulate you on your new role, and I look forward to working with you over the course of the next mandate. Some of the most vulnerable road users are pedestrians and cyclists, as highlighted in the Active Travel Strategy. Can you confirm how this investment will prioritise these vulnerable road users?
Yes, I think it's important that we improve the road network for all its users, and you make a good point in relation to cyclists. Cyclists are particularly vulnerable to potholes along our roads, so I do want to see our road network improved for motorists, cyclists and pedestrians, where particularly in rural areas where pedestrians have to use the road instead of footpaths, etc. But yes, I am minded of all those issues when I'm making these decisions. Thank you.
Okay. Move on then to Declan McAleer.
And I want to wish the Minister well in his appointment as well. And also I want to wish the new chair of the Infrastructure Committee well in her position as well. And no doubt, like myself, making their way from the west to this house, we dodge a lot of potholes. As an MLA who represents a very dispersed rural constituency, just like many here, potholes is a serious issue in the state of our rural roads. Will the Minister, his intervention here today, does it highlight the need for additional investment in the rural roads network? And now that we have this only going again, will he maybe be able to make better use, for example, of monitoring rounds to get additional investment to address the crumbling state of our roads? Thank you.
Minister.
Thank you. I think there is a particular argument in relation to rural roads. I know my predecessor, Chris Hazard, did bring forward a scheme particularly targeting rural roads for resurfacing and improvements, and I hope to be able to do something similar. It will take me some time to establish what finances are available over the period of time ahead and how we best use monitoring rounds, but I am keen to invest in our rural road network.
Don Stewart.
Can I formally congratulate the Minister on his new role as Vice Chair of the Infrastructure Committee and wish him all the best going forward, and also welcome this statement. Minister, you are very aware of the staggering numbers, over 110,000 potholes in Northern Ireland last year, an increase of 34% in my constituency of East Antrim, and 4 to 6 weeks is the average time for repair. This £1 million, can you just give us an explanation of how that will be divvied up, and can East Antrim have it all, please? Thank you.
I've already asked that question, Robert Bond was turned down. It will be divvied up in terms of each division will probably receive a similar amount of funding in this regard, in this tranche of funding. It is worth noting that despite the severe financial restrictions my department and other departments are under, but my department's under, there's 7,000 repairs carried out a month, which is quite impressive as well. I know it's not enough, but 7,000 carried out a month. This will allow us to carry out proper resurfacing schemes rather than the patchwork we've seen over this last period of time in a limited number of areas. But as I keep emphasising, this is a start. It's a statement of intent of how we want to move forward.
First of all, I'd like to congratulate the Minister on his new role. I was looking, Minister, in the statement for the A29 bypass, because there's more potholes around Cookstown, it'd actually be cheaper to build the bypass. But my question is relating to the wise spending of the money. We see some potholes being repaired with the blast effect or whatever. So are you content that this £1 million will be spent wisely and that the method of the repairing potholes is the best one and the best value for money?
Thank the member for his kind comments as well. In terms of the current method of repairing potholes, no, I don't think anybody would say it's been done the best way, but we're doing it in a method which the budget allows us to do. This process is going to be more of properly designed patchworking and schemes in that regard. So I think this money is going to be invested properly, and as we move forward and we can stabilise the DFI's budget, then I think we will see an improvement in our road network moving forward.
Patrick Brown.
I'd like to congratulate the Minister on his appointment and very much look forward to working with him on the Infrastructure Committee. And very much welcome this statement. It's of course most appropriate that we are discussing potholes on the first day of full Assembly business, given the huge number of constituency queries we all receive on this issue. Question is somewhat similar to Mr Buchanan's question. What steps is the Minister taking to explore innovative solutions to more quickly and efficiently fill and patch potholes in order to maximise the impact of this investment?
Minister.
I believe there are currently some of these ideas being trialled in some local council areas.
Minister.
Thank you, Cancro, and thank the member as well. I obviously been highlighted even when I was previously in the department. There are new technologies coming on board in terms of how to repair potholes, new machinery coming on board. We will explore all those options as to how we ensure we're using public finances most effectively. But you also need money to invest to buy new equipment as well, and that is a limited opportunity for my department. But I'm exploring all options to ensure that we're getting value for money for the limited resources we have, and it has most impact on the ground.
Philip McGuigan.
Agus Amor to my colleague. When I congratulate and wish my ministerial colleague good luck, or my colleague who is the minister good luck. So any announcement that will improve the road network is obviously going to be welcomed by all road users. Like all MLAs, my constituency office has been contacted about burst tyres, damaged wheels. But just elaborating on a point you've already touched on, I was contacted last week about an experienced
cyclist. For questions, not statements, Mr. McGuigan.
Who had a pothole and came down, broke 9 ribs and his pelvis. So perhaps, could I ask the Minister just to elaborate how this announcement is going to make the road safer for cyclists?
Thank you, the member, for his kind comments. I'm sorry to hear the experience of your constituent. And it is worth emphasising again, our roads are used by many, many different users. The motorist, the pedestrian, the cyclist and others. And the pothole situation at the moment makes cyclists and motorcyclists particularly vulnerable to serious injury. So this is why I'm keen to resolve this matter. I think the scheme we've announced today will start improving our road network, and it's the start of, pardon the pun, but it's a journey we're on in relation to the funding and improvement of our road network. Today shows what ministers can do when they're in post. It's a small step. I don't want to over-exaggerate it. It's a small step, but I can assure you I am looking for money elsewhere in my department to see if we can spend it on our road network.
Maurice Bradley.
Congratulate the Minister on his appointment. And he's part answered my question, and that was on new technologies. I noticed there's pothole machines have been devised by JCB, and they're in use extensively in the mainland. And I was wondering, had he looked at that particular technology? You can have a bespoke lorry, or you can have an attachment for a JCB digger. Thank you.
Minister.
Thank you. Yes, it's amazing how much information people feel free to send me on social media about new technology and how to fill potholes. But my officials are better qualified than I to examine all these suggestions. I'm keen to, of course, why would we not invest in new technology which carries out these functions in a more effective, efficient way, and we can do more then. But all those things have to be examined, they have to be proven to be value for money, proven what they can do, and I will need, and some of that will come from within my own budget. I may have to bid for more funding. I have to have finances to invest in that sort of equipment.
Dr. Aiken.
Thank you very much indeed. May I welcome the Minister to his new post, and may I make a declaration of interest, because I'll be getting in contact with your department soon to fix a cracked windscreen due to a pothole. But the question I have, Minister, is what are we going to do about the utility companies that seem to spend their entire time digging up the roads, then re-digging up the roads, and not getting in working with anybody to make these things work properly? Because many of the potholes in our constituency across South Antrim are being caused by utility companies digging things up, not repairing the roads properly, and not doing the correct remedial work to make the roads passable.
Minister. Thank you, and thank the member for his comments. In regards to utility companies, my understanding is that they're supposed to work in cooperation with road service, and a planned programme of work which understands when my department will be in carrying out work, whether that's a major resurfacing scheme or whatever else. But where there is poor quality work carried out, I would encourage the member to report it to his local division, because I do think it's important that whoever is carrying out work on our roads is done to the highest standards.
Anya Murphy.
And I'd like to thank the Minister for his statement. And I know there's been a lot of talk in relation to monitoring rounds today, but going forward, will the Minister continue his prioritisation of road quality and seek further funding for potholes and road surfacing in the June monitoring round?
Minister.
Thank you, and thank the member. Yes, I intend to target the June monitoring round for further maintenance on our roads, also other matters as well, but certainly maintenance on the road will be a high priority. And again, I emphasise, because our roads are used by many, many different users, obviously the motorist, but also the cyclist, the walker, and all. So we want to make sure our roads are in a fit and safe condition for all those who use them.
Kelly Armstrong.
Today, bobbing up and down, it's like my normal journey down the Ards Peninsula, because you're up and down like a yo-yo, but I welcome the Minister in his post. Minister, I'm going to follow on from what Dr. Aiken has just talked about, and it's the review, or to ask you if you would review how utility companies are the impact that they're having on our roads, and consider both increasing the 10% inspection rates that are carried out by Department of Infrastructure on reinstated roads within the warranty period, and if the Minister would consider extending the warranty period from 2 years to 4 years to give enough time actually for those utility companies to put back into good repair those roads that they have dug up.
Minister.
Thank you, and thank the member for her question and comments. I'm happy to review all these matters. I think it's not going to be one of the things I'm looking at in the next week or months, but certainly I think it is a programme of work we should be looking at as I get my feet under the desk in the department and move forward. As I said to Mr. Aiken, if there are companies or utility companies, whoever it may be, digging up our roads, then they need to reinstate them in a fashion which lasts for the period of time we would expect them to do so. In terms of inspections, my colleagues, there's limited capacity within the department at this stage in terms of staff and resources to carry out even the inspections we would like to carry out. Now, that's a matter for stabilising the budget, recruiting staff, retaining staff. The public sector pay award, which we hope to resolve in the near future, will also help me in that regard as well.
Jonathan Buckley.
I welcome any money to help cure the pothole pandemic, so this is very much welcome today. It's costing us huge money. One pothole alone on the Northway in Portadown in December had 60 claims to its name. But one of the things that grind the gears of motorists even more is the inefficient way in which sometimes these are dealt with, sometimes leaving one pothole beside the major causing pothole
Mr. Buckley.
to further deteriorate. Will the Minister review this practice?
Thank the member for his question. I'm aware of the pothole he refers to. Yes, again, when you have limited resources and finances, you carry out emergency repairs, and I have no doubt that even those who are carrying out those repairs will tell you that that isn't the standard they want to do. We want to get to a position where we're able to equip our workforce to carry out the repairs properly and for them long-lasting repairs moving forward. There is a balance to be got here. The member's quite rightly, we're paying significant amounts of money out on compensation claims. That money would be better used in making sure the roads are in proper state in the first place.
Danny Baker.
Would the Minister agree that this announcement reflects the importance of having locally elected ministers in place?
Thank you, and thank you, member. Yes, ministers can make these decisions. I think the departments, the officials in the departments, are doing a sterling job while the Assembly and the Executive has been down. But the reallocations of funds like this at the end of this period of time can only be conducted by a minister, so it does show the importance of ministers and what they can do. Without overstating the amount we're spending here, £1 million, while is a lot of money in global terms, it's not a lot of money, but it is a statement of intent.
Brian Kingston.
Announcement of £1 million for potholes. In my time, some of the worst examples of potholes are in the unfinished roads in private developments. We were lobbying for Buttermilk Loney Phase 2 in Ballysillan for 5 years, and finally this week they're getting the top layer of tarmac. Another similar development of the Ballygomartin Road at Mount Gilbert, residents waiting over 3 years, and departmental officials say in replies to me they wish they had more resources to put pressure on those developers. So will the Minister also seek to highlight that issue of unfinished roads in private developments where residents are bought their houses and are waiting years for the roads to be finished?
Minister.
Thank you, and thank the member for his question. It is a serious issue for people who bought a new home and moved in and the streets are not finished off properly. It is on my radar. I'm aware of it. I will engage with officials over the time ahead as how we can deal with that matter, whether it's the percentage of the bond or the size of the bond that's delivered by the contractor, etc. But I think the current situation, homeowners are on the wrong side of the balance of justice, and I think that has to be evened out.
John Blair.
Add first of all to the good wishes expressed to the Minister taking up his role, and also to the committee chair who takes her place here today in the chamber. Mr. Speaker, I'll keep in touch with the Minister individually and all of the local needs and questions that I have, including the Ballycore Road in Ballyclare, which has got to be one of the worst I've ever seen. But the question is more broad-based, and it relates to footways. Footways aren't mentioned in the statement. The Minister will be aware, like the rest of us, that many footways have fallen into a state of repair that is either dilapidated or dangerous. So I therefore want to ask, are they included? And if not, will there be a future bid for funding for those that might also include cycle paths where they are on or shared with footways?
Minister.
This is for carriageways at the moment, but I am acutely aware of my department's responsibility to promote active travel. And when I am looking towards future funding rounds and stabilising my department's budget, I can assure the member that active travel will be a priority. And where you do improve road or footpath works and cycle pathways, it makes a significant difference. I can think of one in my own constituency in relation to around Craigavon Lakes, which was years ahead of its time in terms of developing a proper footpath and cycle network. It has recently been improved. The last 2 years was improved, and it has made a significant difference.
Ciara Ferguson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And can I pass on my best wishes to my colleague in taking up this new position, and also to the new chair of the committee who's here today. I very much welcome the money that has now become available, and I would like to ensure that obviously the Western Division gets its fair share, as you had mentioned. It would be remiss of me if I didn't mention the Northland Road in the constituency of Foyle in the city of Derry, if it wasn't for the local residents and neighbourhoods in that area that alerts people on a daily basis to the dangers on that road due to huge potholes. Just as of Saturday, once again, it buzzed the whole day, and it just went viral on social media. So I just want to highlight the Northland Road and ensure that yourself as Minister can ensure the Western Vision prioritises it in the resurfacing here today.
Minister.
Thank the member for kind comments and her question. In relation to what road network each division highlights, that will be a matter for the divisional manager, and I would encourage the member to engage with the divisional manager around that. It's worth noting and reminding, our road network has fallen into disrepair over several years and has been underinvested in over a decade. And when you have climate change and you have significant downpourings of rain, it causes significant damage to our road network. If that's followed up by frost, then you're in for significant problems. So I have taken a whole new interest in the weather forecast in regards my role as DFI Minister. I hope we're now heading into a spring, but there's still potential for heavy showers and frost, which causes significant damage to our road network.
Danny Donnelly.
Thank you.
Trevor Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And like others, can I congratulate you on your appointment and work with you previously, and hopefully we'll have the same relationship going forward. Minister, you said in response to two members about utilities and about their points they raised about checking those. Of course, your own department, whenever they allocate jobs, some of those jobs turn out to be substandard and fail quite quickly after they're repaired. Will any work be done in relation to that, so as the money is actually spent and spent wisely?
Thank you. Thank the member for his kind comments. Where we have the resources for the work to be carried out for a long-term repair, then it should be carried out properly in terms of a long-term repair. Unfortunately, some of our maintenance crews are facing the issue that they're going out and it's literally pouring a bucket of asphalt or tar into a hole. That's all they can do. That's all the resources they have, all the money they have to do it. And those repairs do not last. This scheme is about ensuring that we have a resurfacing programme where it's properly done and sealed, which means it keeps the weather out of it for a long time. But there are always going to be financial pressures on all departments, but I'm of the view that when you're using public money, it should be used properly, it should be efficiently used, and it should be value for money.
Gary Middleton.
For a statement, indeed welcome the £1 million. However, just up to last month there were 11,000 potholes across Londonderry and Strabane area. Does the Minister agree that it is more important that we actually invest in our roads rather than pay compensation? And can the Minister give any indication as to what the expenditure was on compensation for 2023?
Minister.
I don't have the figures available to me, but I'm happy to share them with the member and also lodge them in the Assembly Library so other members have access to it. We are in a situation now where the roads are in such a state of disrepair, we all know it, that vehicles are being damaged and compensation claims are being paid out. I need to rebalance that to ensure that our roads are being fixed and minimise those compensation claims. It makes economic sense.
Stephen Dunn.
In North Down Council area in my own constituency last year, over 3,800 potholes were reported, whilst receiving the lowest level of funding allocation across all councils, leaving many roads across Bangor, Holywood, Donaghadee and Malile in a truly shocking, disgraceful and dangerous condition. Will the Minister commit to reviewing the intervention level for DFI to repair potholes from 50mm back to 20mm to truly start getting on top of this pothole crisis?
Minister.
It would require the stabilisation of the DFI budget for me to make that commitment. The reason we're in the scenario we're at the minute is because, as I said earlier, even to the original starting point for carrying out emergency repairs was around £60 million. That's what we hoped we would have. We have £21 million to carry out the same repairs. So if we are going to get to a point where we look at lesser defects on the road, then we're going to have the significant increase in the department's financial situation. And when I look at the challenges around the executive table, I'm going to have to work in a collective nature with my executive colleagues, and there's priorities upon priorities upon priorities. But I can assure you I'll fight DFI's corner.
Alex Easton.
Speaker, thank the Minister for his statement. Could the Minister reassure me that my own constituency of North Down will get its fair share of this £1 million?
Minister.
I can assure the member that I will have the 4 divisions will receive around £250,000 each. It's up to the divisional manager then to ensure that that's used to the best effect. How that's used will be their decision. I will not be interfering in that in any way. I think we do have to look at going to the future in terms of medium to long-term planning, that we assure divisions are getting their finances on the basis of need. And where there's the most challenges, they get the most money. But at this moment, the short-term intervention, it's a simple division of 4.
Claire Sugden.
Speaker, and congratulations, Minister, on your reappointment. Minister, we have a really notorious road within the Riverside Retail Park in Coleraine that's fallen into such serious disrepair, and thousands of cars use that road daily. The issue is that it's not owned by anyone, therefore the redress for those individuals cannot happen. There's currently a piece of legislation which does enable that road to be adopted, but it requires that road to be brought up to standard first. Is the Minister willing to look at that so that that burden doesn't fall on the general public and rather to his department?
Thank the member for a question and kind comments. The reality is it will fall on the general public. If I adopt that road without being repaired, then the general public will have to pay for its upgrade. So one way or another, the residents of that area are going to pay for it, and residents of a broader area are going to pay for it. I never make policy on the hoof. I'm happy to look at issues when they're brought to my attention, but I don't think there's any easy solution to that one.
That concludes the Minister's statement and questions. Members just wish to